With this being the end of 2023, it's time to stop and rank my top 10 favorite movies of this past year in film. My name is Max Zinberg. Welcome back to Max Talks Movies. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. I do these types of movie rankings, box office breakdown show every single Monday, as well as other movie reviews and TV show reviews. Expect to see a lot more in 2024. So join the channel before we hit 2024 and subscribe and ring the bell to the channel. We're gaining new subscribers every day, so I want to keep that going. So please subscribe, ring the bell if you're new to the channel. I'm also doing new out of theater reactions. You guys have been enjoying that, so I'm going to keep doing that. Comment down below. What are your top 10 favorite movies of the year? You can also leave your honorable mentions down below. We're all have a variety of lists. We've all seen a variety of different movies. So let's find out which ones we all have in common, which ones we don't have in common. It'll be a very interesting conversation in the comment section down below. And also, please like the video, the thumbs up button. That's how you support this channel. So as I said, usually on this channel, I've done a top 10 worst and best, but I'm not going to do my worst ranking this year. The last 2 years that I've done it, I just haven't had a fun time just crapping on movies for 20 to 30 minutes. It's not a fun video to do. So I'm just gonna do my top 10 movies of the year, where I do some praise. We have some positivity as we head into the new year. So here's some honorable mentions of movies that just missed my top 10 this year. I'll give 5 honorable mentions that are in my top 15 but are not in my top 10. Scream 6, Saw 10, The Killer, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem, and Creed 3 were 15 through 11. Those are the films that did not quite make my list. It wasn't my full list of all the movies I've seen this year. You can go to my letterbox in the comment section to see where your other movies land on my overall 2023 movie ranking. But let's start with my number 10 movies of the year. And starting at number 10 for me was shockingly a movie that I did not think would be in this number, but it is Extraction 2, one of the best action movies of the year. I have a couple on this list, but Extraction 1, I had a fun turn off your brain type time with that first film. But Extraction 2 is better action, better story. There's this long one take that happens in the middle of the movie. And while this isn't a groundbreaking story, the action, the way the movie is shot, is so groundbreaking, I believe, for action films that you could kind of write this off as kind of another John Wick type movie, but it's not. It has unique shot selections from its director, Sam Hargrave. You have Chris Hemsworth, who kicks a lot of ass in the leading role, but the action of this franchise, especially in this movie, is just fantastic. And I was on the edge of my seat from the moment the movie started until the moment the movie ended. I'm so down for more films in this franchise, and I want to see more films from Sam Hargrave because his direction style, the cinematography, this is one of the best well-shot movies of the entire year, and it's a full-on action movie. And Extraction 2 gets into my top 10. Coming in number 9 is the movie I have just most recently seen before doing this list, which is The Color Purple, a fantastic musical adaptation of both the book and the Spielberg-directed film in the 80s. It's a fantastic film. And I think the toughest job that this movie has is that it has such a serious subject matter mixed in with a musical, which is supposed to be very upbeat, but the movie never feels tonally out of control. It feels tonally on brand and on purpose throughout the entire movie. I think that's really tough to do with the type of subject matter and the musical, but this movie is carried by some award-winning, I believe, type performances from Fantasia Barrino, Danielle Brooks, Colman Domingo, Taraji P. Henson are all just fantastic, as well as Halle Bailey. Fantastic movie with really good songs, but fantastic performances. And that third act is some of the best third act that you'll see in a movie all year long. So The Color Purple comes in at number 9. Also, I'm not doing a full review against of these movies because I've already done that on the channel. So click that playlist link and you can go to all my movie reviews so far of this year. Coming in at number 8 for me is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I think easily the best MCU film of the year. And I do believe that it's close to even for me beating the first film. It's not right now, but I really love this movie. I've seen it twice now. And it is one of the most emotional stories that the MCU has told so far involving Rocket Raccoon. That is one of my favorite characters of the MCU, my top 3 characters of the MCU. And to see his backstory, and I think the movie does blend well with Rocket's really sad story, as well as trying to get the Guardians back on track following the events of Endgame and Ragnarok and Love and Thunder. Um, but it's one of the most emotional films, as I said, of the MCU. Everyone delivers, and it's a perfect send off for James Gunn being a part of the MCU. I didn't really like the Sovereign stuff in this movie. That's kind of the only thing that's making this not climb up on this list. I love the High Evolutionary. This is a fantastic MCU film that comes in at number 8. Coming in number 7 is another action film, and that is John Wick Chapter 4. I adore this movie from start to finish. It's my favorite film of the John Wick franchise. It has the best well-shot. It's the most well-shot movie of the franchise. It has the best action of the franchise. And I do believe that this movie has the best characters of the franchise. Of course, you still have John Wick. You still have Winston. You still have Lawrence Fishburne's character in this movie, but Donnie Yen's side character is fantastic in this movie. One of the best side characters I've seen in an action movie in a long time. And the mixture of the hand-to-hand combat, the martial arts, that Donnie Yen's character, who is Kane. You have the addition of Bill Skarsgård as the Marquis. Clancy Brown is great in this movie. The Japan sequence with Hiroki Sanada is fantastic. It's a long movie, but I could watch a longer version of it because I love John Wick Chapter 4. One of the best theater experiences I've had all year long, just watching that and oohing and ahhing with a full sold out theater, but then rewatching it at home, it still holds up. I love John Wick Chapter 4. This will probably be my most divisive movie that is on this list. Coming in at number 6 for me is The Creator, a movie that I am very passionate about. As you can tell, it's number 6 on my top 10 of the year. It's a movie that bombed at the box office, and people have been less positive than I am about this movie. I think the people who like the movie but aren't passionate about it, but I love The Creator. It is, yes, the story is not groundbreaking in any sort of way. You've seen this story before, but it's fresh, original sci-fi from Gareth Edwards, anchored by 2 really great performances. John David Washington, of course, is great, but Alfie, who's played by Madeline Una Voiles, is one of the best child performances I've seen in a movie in a long time. She's, Alfie is a great character, and Madeline is fantastic in the movie. Also, you have Gemma Chan, Ken Watanabe, and Allison Janney in really good supporting roles. But this movie's only shot for $80 million, and it feels like a $200-300 million budget film. It is a high-budgeted film from that perspective, the way it looks. It's a gorgeous movie. There's original ideas, and the AI idea is a really interesting one, especially in a time where AI is at the top of the topic list for a lot of people these days in current events. And this movie handled it very well. I love The Creator. And I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I love this movie. When we get into the top 5 of the year so far, coming in at number 5 for me is Oppenheimer, which is Nolan's best film for me since Interstellar. It's not Interstellar, it's his best film, sorry, since Inception. It's a fantastic film. It's 3 hours. You don't really feel that runtime throughout the entire movie. And what's captivating is, yes, they do build up in the first 2 hours of the movie to the actual atomic bomb, but also the last hour of the movie is also pretty compelling. And it's just about this court case going on involving Strauss and Oppenheimer, a lot of characters of the film. It's obviously by far the best ensemble you'll see in a movie all year long, which I think will give award-winning performances with Cillian Murphy, who is in his first major lead role in Hollywood, and he is fantastic in the movie, but also who's, I think, even better is Robert Downey Jr. as Strauss, and he has a tough job. I've been trying to describe this to people. The first 2 hours, he's definitely in the movie. He's definitely excellent, but the last hour of the movie is not compelling from a performance level or a running level without Robert Downey Jr. at the forefront, and he is a big reason why that last hour of the movie is so compelling, and Downey delivers in the role. Again, it's a stacked cast. I don't want to everyone, but also Nolan is my favorite filmmaker working today. And I grew up with his Batman movies, and his IMAX, his movies just feel larger than life. No matter if it's a court scene or an atomic bomb or anything like that, the movie feels larger than life. And that's because the movie itself does. But smartly, from a writing perspective for Christopher Nolan, the idea of putting you in Oppenheimer's shoes of building such a weapon, but then not understanding and having the weight of what the ramifications are when that nuclear weapon is dropped, and the impact and the mental health and the anxiety that brings to you is really fascinating. I think it's one of the most one of the most fascinating character-based films of the year, looking inside the brain of Oppenheimer and how he feels personally after what happens. So I love this movie. I can't wait to rewatch it very, very soon. Coming in at number 4 for me is, we get to it, the Iron Claw. I'm a big pro wrestling fan. That definitely helps. But I think even without throwing the pro wrestling aside, this is, for me, the most emotional movie of the year. It's a very depressing, sad movie because you just can't believe that all these tragedies can happen to one family in such a short period of time. And it's a moving film as well about brotherhood and family. Zac Efron, who is being criminally overlooked during awards season, gives one of the best performances of the year as Kevin Von Erich anchoring this movie. But again, this brotherhood is not just Zac Efron, but also Jeremy Allen White, Harris Dickinson, as well, who are also fantastic in the movie. You also have Stanley Simons as well. Holt McCallany is also great as the father, as well as Laura Tierney and Lily James as well. But it is an emotional film. The last 5 minutes really hit me strong. I think if you have a sibling, you understand how this movie can really hit you emotionally. The pro wrestling stuff is also really good, other than the Ric Flair element of the movie. It's well shot. It's very well acted. It's a moving film as well. So the Iron Claw comes in at number 4. Coming number 3, another movie that's just getting forgotten about during awards season, which I don't know why, is Air, which came out very early in this year, but this is one of the best sports-like movies, I think, ever. It's a fantastic film directed by Ben Affleck. Matt Damon does a great job at the helm. Also, Affleck is great in the movie. But underrated supporting roles, Viola Davis gives one of the best supporting actress performances of the year as Michael Jordan's mother, and she is the heart and soul of this movie, and Viola Davis delivers in this role. Chris Messina is also one of the funniest performances of the entire year as Michael Jordan's agent, and Messina's chemistry with Damon is fantastic. Also, Jason Bateman and Chris Tucker are really good, but this movie is a great overall movie. They don't really just focus in on Michael Jordan. It's the behind the scenes of what the chance that Nike took on a player who had never stepped foot on an NBA court before, and the fact of building an entire shoe brand around a person, and having that. And it's a fantastic film. I've rewatched it multiple times. Even when I'm in college, one of my professors played it for us in class. It's a fantastic film that moves so well from a pacing perspective. And Air is easily one of the best movies of the entire year. Coming in at number 2 for me is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, one of the best animated films I've seen in the last 10 years. I think it's better than the original film due to both its emotional story for, I think, both Miles Morales, and also a reason why I also love this movie is the inclusion of really a co-lead in Gwen Stacy in this movie. Her relationship with her dad, then being a part of this kind of spider family, and then trying to protect Miles. Gwen has a lot of good things going on in this movie. The score from Daniel Pemberton is fantastic, but this is I'm a huge animation fan, and this movie is such an animation gem with all the different animation styles, with all the different Spider-Man. They all have their all unique animation style, and it's just a joy to watch on screen. I've seen this movie 3 times now, and it's fantastic every time I watch it. Oscar Isaac as Miguel O'Hara is also fantastic. And yes, there is a bit of a cliffhanger ending, but I love the ending with Miles and himself as the Prowler. I just love that ending and the music behind it. I've listened to that scene multiple times. I get chills every time that scene pops up. So I love this movie. I've talked about it a lot on this channel, so I'll just leave it at that. But I love Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse. But coming in number 1 for me is Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. I am a massive Mission Impossible fan, and you just can't keep believing that these films get better. Now, while I think this movie doesn't quite hit the limit, the reach, I think, or the height of Fallout, I think this is another fantastic, one of the best action movies of all time. As Christopher McQuarrie shoots a beautiful film But at the heart of it is another great story with Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt, a great addition of Haley Atwell. The only deterring thing for this movie is the way they use Rebecca Ferguson as Ilsa Faust. I don't really love the treatment of that character in this movie, but other than that, there's really good emotion about the team and what it takes to be a part of this IMF team and the sacrifices that are made. Vanessa Kirby gets another upgrade, as well as the White Widow. But overall, you just care about the core four. And that core four takes you throughout the entire movie. The twists and turns are really good in this movie, as well. The music is fantastic. It's an exhilarating, nearly 3-hour movie that feels like a 2-hour film, more than even a 2:45 movie. So Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I love this movie. I cannot wait to rewatch this for years to come. And I wish this movie did better at the box office because it's such a fantastic film. So that's my top 10 movies of the year. Let me know your top 10 in the comment section down below. And let's have a great Happy New Year, everyone. I'll see you guys in 2024.